No, I mean,
Are we recording and ready to go, Will? Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Beast Report 89. I'm going to read the meeting notice and then we'll call the roll. Please be advised that there will be a full committee meeting of the Medford Comprehensive High School Building Committee in person at Beast Report 89 in Medford, being held via remote participation. The meeting can be viewed live on Medford Public Schools YouTube channel through Medford Community Media, on your local cable channel, which is Comcast 9, 8, or 22, and Verizon channel 43, 45, or 47. The meeting will be recorded. Participants can log or call in by using the following Zoom link. Meeting ID is 946-5091-2152. I will call the roll. Jenny Graham here. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Present.
Dr. Galusi.
Here.
Marta Cabral.
Here.
Libby Brown.
Here.
Marissa Desmond. Here. Maria Dorsey. Brian Hilliard.
Here.
Tracy Keene.
Here.
Emily Lazaro.
Here.
Nicole Morel. Aaron Olapade.
Here.
Luke Preisner. Joan Bowen.
Here.
Ken Lord.
Here.
Bob Dickinson. Fiona Maxwell.
Here.
Will Pacelli.
Here.
Chad Allen.
Here.
Lori Hodgson.
Here.
John McLaughlin.
Here.
Paul Rousseau.
Here.
Philip Santos. Lisa Miller.
Here.
Hi, Lisa. I didn't even see you down here. And Dr. Kim Talbot.
Here.
So we have 13 present, 2 absent. So we have a quorum and we're good to go here. Thank you all for being here tonight. We have some sort of preliminary business to take care of, and then the vast majority of the discussion will be about the proposals that we received, and we'll sort of do some framing about that conversation when we get there. But before we do that, the next thing on the agenda is approval of the August 11th School Building Committee meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Member Olapade.
Second.
Second by Dr. Galusi. Okay, I will call the roll. Jenny Graham, yes. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Yes.
Dr. Galusi.
Yes.
Marta Cabral.
Yes.
Libby Brown.
Yes.
Marissa Desmond.
Yes.
Maria Dorsey is absent. Brian Hilliard.
Yes.
Tracy Keene.
Abstain.
Emily Lazaro.
Yes.
Nicole Morel, absent. She's on her way, I believe. Aaron Olapade.
Yes.
Luke Preisner.
Yes.
Joan Bowen.
Yes.
Ken Lord. 12 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 2 abstention, 2 absent. Oh, no, 11, sorry. 11 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 2 abstention, 2 absent. Gets us to 15. Motion passes. I lost track along the way there, guys. Okay, item number 3. We actually are welcoming 2 new members to the building committee. So as you all know, Dr. Cushing has taken a job in Beverly as the superintendent of schools there. He was a voting member of the committee, and he has been replaced by Ken Lord, who has joined Medford as the chief operating officer. And Dr. Kim Talbot has also joined the team. She is our assistant superintendent of curriculum and instruction. And so she is joining us as a non-voting member. So I didn't know if you wanted to introduce yourselves at all. And Ken, I know you have like wheels of experience in this space, so it might be nice for everyone to hear.
Sure.
From mine.
So, this is my it's a real deja vu. It's been very interesting. Really excited to participate in this project. And involved in technology for 33 years, facilities for probably 6.
Thanks, Ken.
I have significantly less building experience than Ken, but I'm really excited to be part of the commissioning process, taking my first and students into the next phase.
Yeah, welcome both of you. If there's anything that happens along the way and you're like, what are you all talking about? Please feel free to stop us and ask because we're happy to answer. So welcome, and if there's things you need, just let me know. Figure out how to get you what you need about anything that's happened so far.
Tracy sent a message about some difficulty hearing.
Oh,
So
Tracy.
just want to make sure.
Tracy, can you hear me okay?
I can hear Jenny okay, but I could not hear Ken and Dr. Talbot at all.
Okay. So everyone just use your teacher voice and we'll see how it goes. Tracy, just keep us posted if you are having a hard time hearing.
Okay, will do.
Thank you. Item number 4 is approval of the August 2025 OPM invoice. So I'm going to turn that over to Matt. You would like to walk us through what's here?
Yeah, so this is just our third invoice. The last meeting, we approved both June and July. So this is a continuation of our OPM services for the month of August. It's our agreed upon lump sum of $25,000. We don't have any additional sub-consultants or other reimbursable costs at this point. This is very straightforward.
Any questions for Ken? Okay, is there a motion to approve the invoice?
So moved.
Motion to approve by Ken, seconded by Luke. I will call the roll. Jenny Graham, yes. Mayor Lundo Kern.
Yes.
Dr. Galusi.
Yes.
Marty Cabral. We're absent for now. Libby Brown,
Yes.
Marissa Desmond,
Yes.
Maria Dorsey.
Yes.
Oh, I get a yes. Okay, welcome, Maria.
Thank you.
Brian Hilliard,
Yes.
Tracy Keene,
Yes,
Emily Lazaro,
Yes.
Nicole Morel, is on her way. Aaron Olapade,
Yes.
Luke Preisner,
Yes.
Joan Bowen,
Yes.
Ken Lord.
Yes.
So that is 13 in the affirmative, 2 absent. Motion passes. Invoice is approved. Okay, so we're going to move on to the meat of the meeting. And hopefully it will be a meaty meeting by the time we're done here. As you all know, we got 4 proposals from designers. And the goal for tonight is for myself, for the mayor, and for Dr. Galusi to really hear from all of you about your impressions. We are not ranking. We cannot rank. We cannot do that. We should not do that. All of these 4 folks are watching us either now or in the future. And the MSBA is really explicit about not wanting us to be talking in terms of ranking, favorites, etc. So what we tried to do was give you all a set of questions to think about. And they're up on the screen there. So what I would like for us to do is just go one proposal at a time and go through these questions. I think we're really interested in hearing from all of you. We're sensitive to the fact that we are 3 of 13 votes. So we have our work cut out for us when we go to designer selection next week. However, you know, there's a lot of collective experience at this table, and we want to hear from all of you, from your lenses, from your impressions of the proposals that were shared. And that will help us get ready for that meeting. And there's two meetings. One is where we will talk about all of the proposals, and then the second meeting where there will be a short list of some kind, where those folks will come in and interview with us at the DSP. So the questions that we did want to talk about with all of you, and I'm thinking we should just take them one at a time so that we give everybody equal shake. What did you like about the proposal compared to others? What stuck out as advantageous? What did you dislike about a particular proposal as compared to others? What did you view as being less than advantageous? And then what question would you have for this applicant about their proposal? So those are the three questions. We can maybe just start. Does anyone have a proposal they want to start with that they feel very strongly about? Luke?
Well, let's start with the other one. I couldn't find any evidence.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna do one question at a time so that everybody can stick with us, okay? So everyone has DLR's proposal. Okay. So this proposal is from DLR in collaboration with Jonathan Levy Architects. Does everyone have a copy of that? Okay, so the first question is, what did you like about this proposal as compared to others, and what stuck out as advantageous? And then, Will, can you keep track of who is raising their hand online? It's a little hard for us to see. Can we leave the questions up? Okay. What did we like about this proposal? Liddy?
I like that they their experience working together. Recently on a large project that took it. And I think that Levy shows pretty strong design skills. So I can see that example. In fact, they successfully teamed with us.
Right. Great. Anybody else? Paul?
I like that they were pretty explicit in their stuffs, basically like everything that we want listed actually.
Anybody else? Thoughts, questions about what you liked? Any questions online, Will? Okay. What did you dislike about the DLR proposal as compared to others? Or what did you view as being less advantageous or less than advantageous?
Less advantageous, yeah. I can find evidence of past experience. This is called private contractors.
Yep.
Certainly a consultant. But the private contractor team seems to have their experience base spread across the country. And also even U.S. territories. I felt was less advantageous. I also thought the relatively large full-time equivalent headcount, about 5.5, is less advantageous than a tighter team. So, they had a high headcount, high team. They also have very high consulting.
Ken?
I thought it was less advantageous to have two firms as a design team trying to coordinate at the same time. Just keep them on the same page, make sure they're kind of be collaborating.
I've seen that people are having a hard time hearing us. So Emily, so far the comments in the less advantageous category are that this group is light on experience with MSBA, that they seem to have a relatively large headcount, and that there are two firms in the mix with which to coordinate about the design. That's what we've covered so far, just for those of you trying to listen here.
It's going to be like back and forth. Like if I have comments in regards to what something has said from my personal experience. Like,
Sure.
chime in
Yeah.
with that. Okay, so, yeah.
Speak loudly for the crowd.
I meant to speak up earlier, but then I got distracted looking at the paper. But I actually think the fact that it's 2 firms is actually something that's could be seen as advantageous. You have a lot of different voices, and you get to take the expertise of each of those firms and leave behind the things that the firms aren't as good at. So I think looking at them as one entity, it's not on us to figure out how that firm is going to staff the project or how they're going to who's going to be in charge of this part of design, who's going to be in charge of that part of the design. Having worked on both sides of projects where I've been either the architect of record or the design architect, all of this would be hammered out between the 2 firms in advance. Skipping ahead a little, I would put that onto the what questions would I ask the applicants about their proposal? How are they going to handle these things? They have extensive experience working together already, which leads me to believe that they already have this process in their minds of how they're going to handle it. And so I think it is actually very advantageous to take a firm that's really rooted in kind of the programming and analysis, and then a firm that's really rooted in really good design and bringing them together to create one super team.
Thanks, Marissa. Will, is there anybody online who's got their hand up?
All the members of the, Maria Dorsey.
Maria?
Hi. From an educational angle, I had the feeling that this group, their focus was more on CTE than on the classrooms, as opposed to the other groups. A lot of them, the others were either on equal footing or had a strong sense of what the needs of the classroom are with CTE combined. This one, I felt that they had a more leaning towards the shops. So that was just my impression on what I read.
Thanks, Maria. Is there anybody else online? Oh. Anybody else? Brian?
I think one of the things I feel is a little disadvantageous is that their prime candidate, I think, in public isn't done. So a little bit of a problem there that we don't really know how it turned out and how that can manifest itself.
So for those of you online, the comment was that their sort of prime example for us is still a work in progress and it's not yet complete. So we don't know how it turned out. Luke?
I wanted to add, when I looked at all the consultants, 37, I didn't find a library consultant, I didn't find a lab consultant, I didn't find a consultant, landscape, sports, educational programming, vocational, more vocational CE. I found those consultants in other proposals. I didn't find them. Maybe I missed it, so cross those.
Is that typical, Matt and Jen? Can you talk a little bit about what is typical in terms of how teams get put together?
So they need to provide consultants that are listed out in the RFS. We have a very specific set of consultants that we're expecting to see included in their proposals. We did receive one of the questions that we received after the walkthrough was whether or not a pool consultant is required or not. It's not something that we had said was required. They can certainly include one. So I think maybe one firm carried a pool consultant and the rest didn't. But that was largely because have. So that's typically, and I can pull up the sub-consultant spreadsheet of where I found everybody, just to make sure that they did include all of them. I did think they did. Some of them are maybe a little hard to find next to some of the names, but I'll take a look and pull that up, see where the consultants I found were.
Okay, just sometimes they have in-house experience, so they list themselves for those categories. Sometimes that makes it a little less clear. But they don't have to
give them, so I was gonna say the same thing, like for the CTE experience, an example, they have someone in-house that do it, that says they're the CTE. So I'm not, that answers every question, but for some.
So it sounds like the teams will not necessarily look apples to apples because of how they come together. Is that right? Okay. Thanks. Other not advantageous things. Brian?
Also, a lot of the projects that they're looking at, the student count is fairly low.
Questions?
So just so you know, this is the spreadsheet that we're required to fill out for the MSBA, that this is all of their consultants, all of the four firms. So you can see them here. So yeah, they did have structural landscaping, they have a CT consultant. It was an in-house individual. Yeah, so they have their in-house experts, it's their CT consultant.
I did have a question, more maybe for Dr. Lucy and her team. I feel like what I hear about vocational is that what we think of as vocational in Massachusetts is quite different than what vocational looks like in other places in the country. Can you respond to that from a programming perspective? Because a lot of their vocational experience seem to be from all over the country, and the standards are dramatically different. We would want to be aware of that.
Yes, and I think that we are in a unique situation where we are a comprehensive high school, we're not a standalone vocational school, so all of our programs are Chapter 74, which means that there are requirements and regulations pertaining to content that we provide our students, the number of hours that they have in shop, as well as for their academics, and then the number of hours that they are doing in the industry field, whatever that may be, particular to the shop. And I know that we are looking to expand our programming, and that some of the vocational programming standards have recently been increased. A lot of what I would just say that from the lens of me reviewing a lot of these proposals would be looking at that experience that a firm does have with the CTE programming that is aligned and parallel to Medford, not a standalone CTE school, but one that's comprehensive, that at this time has full Chapter 74 shops and ones with space that is unique and brings with it a lot of flexibility. Do you need more detail?
No, I'm good, thank you. I just wanted to, not being in that world, understand, is it the same everywhere, or is it different? So, thank you.
I also would say that maybe also for me, I do not have a lot of MSBA experience coming into this project. So I think for someone like me reading these proposals, I found it very difficult to get a true understanding from the visuals of this, based on the clarity of the image, the detail or lack of detail, or in the font choice. It was really hard for me to get a true understanding as to what the vision was for the proposals.
Third question, what question would you ask this applicant about their proposal? Obviously that we haven't already talked about, but questions you would ask? Luke?
I'd ask him to forecast duration. So.
Okay. Questions, Libby?
I think I'd ask just how frequent they expect to be physically visited to Boston for those who are not local. So they'll be flying in or doing remote meetings, just how often they'll be here in person.
That's right, this was the team that was not terribly local, is that right?
Yeah, Libby's local. DLR has a mix. Some of them are local, Boston, but some are not.
Else, what other questions would we have for DLR? Is there anybody on Zoom? Okay. Any last, Brian?
Back to DLR. They mentioned cluster design concept. That concept.
So for those of you at home, wanting some more information on their cluster design concept. Other questions for DLR? Want to talk about Perkinsville next? What did we like about Perkinsville? Luke?
I like that. I like that. Oh, sorry.
You're down here.
Yeah, I like that they've worked with left field before. Same. Yes. Like Salem High School, which was in the schematic phase, construction expected. Project. Focus on prime contractors who have experience with Salem High. So. I like that they included a estimated timeline for meeting various modules, including schematic design, which allows us to get a sense of how some construction. Certainly looking forward to it, but I like that they took the effort.
Things people liked about Perkinsville, Aaron?
I like that they try to incorporate community, so they had a kind of central space in between the addition renovating space that they, their first kind of slideshow, trying to incorporate the idea that this is an opportunity for the community to be involved in events as well as outdoor learning spaces. We're learning a lot now that there's a huge benefit to having that available space for students and teachers to kind of get outside the classroom from time to time. So to be able to incorporate that and be used as a shared space with the community.
Other likes, Paul?
I like that they put geothermal right in the picture. Questions to make this thing. I think others did.
Libby?
Just overall, I think their messaging is very clear, their graphics are very clear. It just gives me hope for if they were our team for how they move forward in this messaging community. And I just think that it also very clarity of the fact their team has experience, school pointed out, but they actually are 100% available to work on our project and splitting with Salem. That's a separate work I think is on both, but the team doing the work day to day is on our project.
Likes, Lori?
I also like the idea that they take into account interdisciplinary learning. That's not just about CTE, but about all learners. So
So for those of you online so far, we've heard, the likes include students' experience working with left field, that Salem High School is ongoing and ahead of us, that they took a stab at a timeline, that they're prioritizing community space, outdoor learning, geothermal. Their messaging was quite clear. They are not splitting their team with other projects like Salem, and they are focused on interdisciplinary learning, just so that you, in case you all were having any hard time hearing.
I'd also like to add, I want to try to.
Including what? Full consultants. Yeah, when we were doing the tour, there were lots of questions about those kinds of things, and we really tried to paint a picture for everybody who is here that there are some interesting spaces in this building that we should be looking at to say, is this worth preserving, or is it not for some reason? But that was one of the spaces we talked about, wanting explicitly to be able to evaluate. Does it stay? Does it, if it goes, what happens? That also included the gym because it's quite big. And it includes some of the CTE spaces as well. So that certainly seemed reflected in their design as well in terms of how they were trying to preserve. Okay, what was less advantageous?
Answer that question. I last one. If, so the next one, which is as well as some student populations. So
Okay. Things that seem less advantageous. John?
So to the point of they work in this area, there aren't a lot of CTs. So I think that would be one of my.
Okay. And their team also didn't seem to have lots of vocational experience. Am I remembering that correctly?
Oh, sorry.
So soft-spoken, I'm so sorry.
No,
Yeah, but
I was just making the point that I saw two consultants, sort of level this. That were vocational.
Marissa, I think kind of splitting this question to the next one, for some of the firms that have less experience in CT, a question for that would be how are other projects that you have worked on, or other projects and other things that you've worked on that you think would be beneficial to help CT? You know, things like performing arts and just like fine art have like a lot of detailed, explicit requirements similar to CTE. I mean, not the same things, obviously, but like the same, just like nonsense stuff that you don't necessarily need in a regular classroom, that like that type of experience.
I think for me, like this one, that their experience spanned beyond public schools and beyond high schools. And while I have a similar question to you, while that may not be a negative, there were other design teams where their experiences are strictly educational spaces. We've 12. To me, I would be very curious to see like how does that experience really match up to what we need here in Medford with a very unique site and the possibilities of being able to do something maybe different here. A real hybrid opportunity.
Are there things we thought were less advantageous? Okay, what questions do you have for this firm?
Share questions for all the firms, especially this one, is what experience do they have in renovating gyms, pools, CTE, or anything else for that matter? And do all the firms have experience in some sort of solar, whether that's solar, parking lot, buildings, to components of whatever project we potentially choose.
Other questions?
They, in kind of all the designs, they don't clarify what their expectations with the Curtis Tufts. I know that they kind of discussed interdisciplinary collaboration, CT, pre-K, innovation sections in one of the design plans, but they don't actually clarify if they want that to be built in an adjacent building, in the building, what their thinking is with that. So I just like to get some clarity on what their vision would be and then how that kind of plays in what we're doing as well for that respective program. Because they clarify everything else. So.
Okay. Helpful, thank you. Other questions? Okay. 2 down, 2 to go. Want to do AI3 next? Happens to be the one right in front of me. Okay, what did we find advantageous about AI3? Ken?
If I counted correctly, it sounded like they did 6 CTE schools in the last 12 years. Have an in-house CTE expert.
Great.
I also like their own parking areas, they can have blocks better.
Joe?
I like their, the innovative way they looked at underground parking, but also separate aquatic section. If that's something that we're gonna continue to have, like have that separate, more of a community schools, you know?
Okay.
They gave examples of bids under budget. That's your question.
We can dream, right? Paul?
I just am really in love with the use of wood inside the building, so aesthetics. I guess.
Okay. Aaron?
I like that they acknowledge that we're on a hill. So I think some of the designs were trying to kind of lay it all on the same level. Well, I think this one, I think they emphasize the opportunity to use multi-level construction builds, either for the additional, like addition renovations or complete construction, which I think is a really interesting way to kind of consider what the vision would look like and how you can use multi-level.
I like the founder of the firm, sign up 75% of his time, service and charge. Smaller project, prime contractor team, smaller consultant team, less possibility for bigger planning. Founder of the firm, annual project. So I thought that was advantageous. Their past work, they have worked with Westfield. So there's a school called a larger school. But they would, Turkey, Watertown High School, North Plymouth High School, which, like us, is a very large lot. So 40 acres versus 30 acres. Starts as part actually. They've done South Plymouth. And if you looked at the pictures of these various high schools, you can see the aesthetics vary quite a lot. So they're very capable of executing style. Watertown is almost complete. In the spring, their school is at zero. It's good. Demonstrates aptitude. South Plymouth High School has a large CP program. That's it.
Dr. Lucy?
So what I was very advantageous about AI3 is that, as you mentioned previously, during the tour, I felt like this proposal captured a lot of what we have said in our profile, as well as what was mentioned on the tour. So they were like very specific to call out some details about how we want to make sure we have like collaborative space for teachers and staff, how different options for how the learning environment can be staffed while maintaining some of the CTE spaces, and how they can be creative to Aaron's point about using like the scope of our land. I just felt like they were listening and really specifically targeting a lot of their examples to the specifics of Medford, right down to even like the community outreach and some of like the local community events that they would be going to. I just felt like they were really listening.
For those of you online, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what has been said. If you all can hear me, okay? Thumbs up. Okay. So here's the list that I've captured. They've done 6 CTE projects. They have an in-house CTE expert. They had creative ideas around underground parking and a separate aquatic center. They've identified bids that are under budget, which is exciting. Their aesthetic design appeals to more than one person in the room. They sort of worked with our on the hill idea rather than trying to flatten it, as well as the founder being directly involved in the project, and a tighter stack of consultants. So hopefully less tension and more cohesion on the team. They have worked with Leftfield before. The Watertown building that's set to open in the spring is a net zero building. And that they were very clearly listening to the tour and the kinds of things that we were talking about that were important.
Like an expedited timeline.
Like an expedited timeline. And the overall, their clear commitment to public input. So that's what's been going on here, in case you all have been having a hard time hearing us. Are there any likes from the group on the phone that you wanted to share? I see a comment from Maria. They had a strong focus on integrating CTE in the classroom. Thanks, Maria.
Jenny, this is Tracy. I just listed, because you may have already gone through this, but I listed 4 questions that I think should be asked to each consultant, and I just dropped them in the chat.
Okay, great. I will grab those out at the end. Were there things that we saw about this presentation that were not advantageous? Marissa?
Medford is a fairly diverse and diversifying community, and the full slate of people on the team, I didn't see very much diversity in the group, which is always a little concerning to me. Obviously, they're talking about involving the community, but not having diversity on your team is problematic, I think, sometimes.
Thank you. Advantageous?
When you ask that question.
Yes.
Will they bring in a consultant or an expert or?
Yeah.
First half.
Other things that were not advantageous?
This is a little bit personal, but I think just compared to other firms, their designs just feel a little bit leaning towards elementary design and something that was over elevated towards, I know, not higher education, but you know, 9 through 12 as opposed to younger children. So that was just makes sense.
Okay.
Flesh that out a little bit.
Colors, just materials, chaos. It's not, I think when you get to high school level, things get a little refined. It's just a personal opinion. And sometimes things like skew a little bit too fun and silly, and that's just better for kids. And we're, you have narrow tables.
Other not advantageous. For those of you on the phone, the two that came up is that the team is not very diverse in its composition, and then that the design leans towards younger children rather than towards young adults and almost adults. Nearly adults, which gives me a little bit of a heart attack personally with 2 kids in this building now. Okay, what questions would we have for AI?
Libby? Again, I have a question. Just maybe the way they structure their team, but their person they call project manager says they have 25% of their time available for the project. Now they have other people that have more, so it might just be that that person isn't doing the same manager job that someone else is. But I just wanted to be very clear about who's doing what. And if someone's going to get 25%, that means that those tasks are being done.
Okay. Other questions? Aaron?
So the only question as I'm looking at them, so with the school on the hill design, compared to the other two, the amount of space in there per brain for just student learning in general, whatever they look like, seems just visually smaller than the other two suggested designs. So I'm trying to understand like how they're, where the space is going a little bit. Because the first and second design.
Really vertical.
Oh, is that how it is? Okay. I understand.
I jumped out at me as well.
Thank you.
Like,
Yeah, I
what's
just,
going on
I was
here?
like, okay, cool. Thank you. I retract my question.
Yeah, they have more stories. Other on.
So the question I would ask is whether they ruled out constructing a portion of the facility on top of the last practice. I see 3 concepts. They rule out fabricating a new structure. I'll say that portion of the parking lot. No, that's not it. I'm talking about there's a lot of space, a lot of trees. I guess our property.
Yeah, and I do think, whoever works with us, I think the first thing we'll do is tell them everything we hate about what was in their proposal, right? So that when they start thinking about what else it is that they want to do here. So just because something was not in a proposal that got selected doesn't mean we can't be like, we actually did really like this thing that this other vendor did and tell us about sort of that. So I think that's a good point. Yeah, they might have. I mean, there's many reasons to rule things out on this site, like, in terms of timing and landscape and ledge and like all the other things that could be going on that they just may have some perspective on. So we can put that on the list of questions. There are questions for, what are we talking about? AI3.
I had a question that was for everybody.
Yeah.
And it was basically, nobody in any of their thought about addressing the entry, the traffic entry, like everybody just maintained one driveway. And I know that that was like a big thing that we all talked about already. So I'd like a question would be why, and, if you guys got something. Like, what would be, okay,
It's actually a great question. It was like a lot to take all of this in and be like, ooh, 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 ooh. Now, which one am I in? Where is it? All the pieces and parts were hard to keep track of, so.
An additional positive thing was that the driveway, if you call it that, is incredibly long and wraps around the whole property, which I think has to be helpful for that are drop off. Again, I am not a parking person.
yeah, I mean, they all definitely addressed parking on site and flow, so there wasn't just like one lane for everybody, one way out for everybody once you get into onto the road, but I think the like road coming in, yeah, is needs to also.
Okay. Any other questions about AI 3? Okay. And number 4, SMMA. What did we like?
Well, I really like that they had all on solar every service. Yeah. Which I mean, obviously.
Okay, what else, Ken?
3 CTEs, recent projects, and they were by the largest firm. House experts.
Felt like it felt like a really cohesive proposal. Like all of the portion, all of the parts were cohesive with the other parts. Like it didn't feel like they just were grabbing things from here and there and putting it together. Like it all was well thought out.
I thought the choice of agency as their landscape architect was smart because that's who led our comprehensive master plan for the city. So it's not the same person, it's a landscape architect, but the firm would have a lot of understanding of Bedford.
Brian?
I appreciate the fact that the concepts are still pretty open. Carry a lot of weight with it. So it's just to get the conversation going. Want to unpack. I like that the two concepts are pretty cool. Obviously, it's great. Again, it's getting things going. It's a lot. Work through it. I appreciate it. Specific and generic at the same time. Information.
Like, I think the other side of that for someone like me, who doesn't have like an architect background, that is an engineering design background, I was like wanting just a little bit more detail as to like where this is headed. So I guess that's like a double-edged sword.
Honestly, I think some of the benefit there is just past experience. You know that
Yes.
it does end up in theory. It's a long process, so this is.
Their lives. Everybody online? Oh,
I
is that
like that they had a lot of example projects at like a wide range of price points. It felt like they were going to be able to handle. We're at the lower end or the higher end of our budget.
Aaron?
I like that for one of their design plans, their site's actually a continuum discovery. It's like this growing experiential learning opportunity. So the whole, again, they kind of try to incorporate different levels. The building kind of rises as you go from the main entrance, the level all the way to where the dreams currently sits. And the whole building is supposed to kind of be this movement throughout the whole, which I think is a really interesting way to kind of incorporate what we want to accomplish, I think, as educators.
I really like the side cut view on the bottom. Sectional thinking. Because it also really like, just gave you so much information. Under, we have flooding problems, they look at that, which, thank you. The only thing I, what I,
Any more likes? I know it's hard to separate them. Okay, on to things that are less advantageous.
Well, I'll just continue my thought that, not to disagree with Aaron, but when you look at these, this is all pretty flat. Like the top floor of the very beginning is really just, it's only like 1 or 2 floors up across a very steep grade. And so that makes me wonder, like, I feel like I've walked this place enough times to know that there's much more grade than that. So what's the plan there? Is it to knock a bunch down, to build it up, keep parking everything? So I'm a little confused by how flat things actually.
It's a big site. So stretch it out that far.
Yeah,
Looks like it's not much. It looks like.
but I'm just counting the stories in the actual building.
Yeah. Floor to floor is probably something like 25, 20, something like that. So I think when you look at them like this, they just look like pancakes for sure.
Yeah.
Other dislikes, Luke?
So I think, personally, this event, less advantageous. They're small, I like small team. Their small team is currently supporting Wakefield High School, which just began construction. And then the architect is supporting Lexington High School, which is at the time phase. Certainly, I don't feel like it will prevent them from accomplishing for us. But certainly, there could be negative impacts on the duration of activities for our time. And I saw some evidence of that actually materializing in their estimated schedule. Certainly, I compare it with Perkins Wills. They're not exactly apples to apples, but you can tell where the design phase ends for both. So I was just looking at that. And it seemed to be maybe 6 to 8 months after PW. It's an estimate, I treat it as such, but I only bring it up because it sort of reinforces the concern that I have. They have these ongoing large projects that may take away from their ability to respond as quickly as perhaps they would otherwise. Obligation.
Sure. For the folks on the phone, I'll just do a quick recap so that we can make sure you're still with us. For advantages, they have done 3 CTE programs very recently. They've gone whole hog on solar. They have the largest in-house team. Their proposal was cohesive from beginning to end. They do have some sub-consultants who were involved in Medford's comprehensive plan, so they would have a connection to Medford. Their concepts seemed very open-ended. They had a wide range of projects in terms of price points, so that felt like something that could happen here. And their like sectional view visuals were compelling to some. And then on the dislike side, so far we have some questions about like the grade looking a little too much like a pancake for like what goes on the site. So just some clarification about that. And then that they are simultaneously doing Wakefield and Lexington at different phases, but there are shared resources in this proposed team that also are working on Wakefield and Lexington. And Lexington is going to be a monster of a project based on what I'm reading, because it's a very, very large high school. Lexington, yes, they do. They did put a visual in their proposal about, I think, trying to tell us that the timing, the phasing of our project versus Lexington was different. I think that's what this visual was trying to tell us. I actually had some questions, much like Luke, about, doesn't this sound like it's longer? So I think that visual just probably needs some clarification, which we can put on the questions list. Anything from the folks online? I see another hand somewhere, Brian?
Yeah, just another quick thought. Looking at their initial proposal for transformation imagery and those big bold moves, look really cool, but sometimes it's harder to get all the programming into those spaces, and it gets trying to put too much into some constraints. And some of the other projects, some of the other proposals are getting space, which chip each other together. And if you look at the way this will evolve, additions and pieces put all over, there's a reason for that. Because I'm not saying it's good, but obviously this is a single way. But these big moves can sometimes hamstring the efforts to get follower spaces placed into them. Which is, that can be negative. Might be worth the
Other dislikes, Will?
To me, one of their designs seems like a lot of walking for a student, a lot of stairs first.
Yeah.
Respectfully, better change.
So, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, to sort of elaborate on that, it does matter not just whether we want to walk a lot, but we don't have a lot of time to classes. And so this is probably a question.
Yeah.
Question for all of these would be about time to get around the thing. I don't want us to do this and then immediately have to do it at 5 more minutes of class. Nobody wants the 5 minutes, you can do it, but, so that is a concern. And then my other, my question was going to be, it'll come back.
Other questions?
So I'm just wondering, is left field allowed to suggest questions for us, having worked with some of them or not worked with them? You know, are there questions you think we should be asking, or are you allowed to say that?
I think a lot of the questions that are coming up are along the lines of what we would typically ask. You know, it does vary from project to project, designer to designer. You know, projects are the same, so questions can definitely vary. From what I've heard here, I think the questions that are being asked are very good.
You get a chance after this first meeting, we're asked to come up with some questions that they should consider in their, the folks who are interviewed, who were invited to interview on that second designer selection panel meeting. So we do take questions, these questions, and we'll also add some based on our experience with these designer selection panels and firms. The questions are going to be asked the same across the board of all the firms. So it won't be specific to one proposal or one architect. Those blank questions in relation to the project.
Let follow up to that, what you said. So I know originally, I believe, please correct me, the thought was we get a bunch of proposals, then we narrow it down to like 3 or 4 for interviews, right? We obviously only have 4. Do you think the idea is we still narrow it 3 to interview, or we could decide that could be what that meeting decides, right?
Right. It'll be those said over 3 voices on the panel. So they will decide if they want to be, right, they might say all 4. They might just want to see it all.
Okay, but then it's even sort of drive that, right? What they think is right.
Yeah, after the first ESP meeting where you have this kind of discussion. And then decide, relatively close, we should interview before, there's 2 or 3 that stand out. But that could make that.
At the end of that meeting, there will be a ranking with all of the DSP members And at that point, if they see there's two that are like front runners, and the other ones are ranking so far below, the first prize, they might just pick two, or if everybody's on the same field. Might be also-
Question, and I don't know, this question has to be, what's it to body carbon reduction and proposed design and body? It's on page 70.
Or 71.
71, and 72. Oh. What were the pictures? It's on the top right corner. Each of the.
Oh, okay. It's like a little pie chart.
Yeah.
Embodied carbon is like, the energy that it takes to like put into the materials.
But I think what this is saying, the little pie chart is the proposed design body carbon is 20% less than like a typical project. So it's like that the body carbon reduction is green, 20%.
So bigger green is good.
Bigger green is good. Yeah.
Uh,
But that's good.
It's you, like through use of sustainable materials, like
Yeah.
certified wood.
I guess I was
Recycled.
confused by the
That's not
proposed
right, yeah.
design. I don't know.
It's important.
I think it's important information. I don't know. It's not a question.
Okay, other questions that we would want to be asking SMMA? And then I think, are there other questions that we feel like, that you're feeling like you would want to ask of all of the potential proposals, potential firms? Ken?
Expand on their schedule. Expand upon their schedule and how we can use acceleration.
Place moves. Stages, I know a couple of outline that, placement of students while classrooms are disrupted.
Okay. Other questions that we have for
Something of
everybody?
their experience, because I know some call that out, that they have experience doing that in their previous projects.
John?
My biggest thing, what I do is about storage and places to put supplies and things of that nature.
Okay. So are there any questions online about either SMMA or the maybe the field overall? Questions you would want to be asking of everybody? Yes.
Oh,
I'm capturing them right now.
I do have a question. Were there any, first engineer the answer, but were there any of the specific things that we were wanting, they did not include? Well, then I was thinking a whole list of what's there, like, sort of stuff centers, et cetera. That's not that.
Yeah, the ECC too.
Yeah, so just tell us what those are. Tell us why.
Sorry if I missed this, but how is parking being forecasted? Is there anything in your design that would change what they need, or is that like a
The question was, from a parking need perspective, is that a formula or how is that determined and how does that integrate into their design? Like, how does that get determined on these projects?
A lot of it will just be through discussions that we currently have, what's desired, need or need the same, and then just kind of working that way. They will have specific number of like EV spots that they have to be based on total number of counts, stuff like that. The actual total number, and it's just a discussion with. times. It's-
And
that's
you're
a pretty
selling roads
common-
now?
Yeah. So yeah, there's no real, like, MSBA won't say like, no, you really have.
Okay. Got it. Other questions for vendors? Lou?
If they can identify for the concepts, which concepts would absolutely require plastic and which would absolutely
Blasting?
plastic.
Blasting, okay. Like you said, blasting, I'm like, that's not a word I know.
I just remember there being some issues with development with they conducted trends on plastic.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's-
My bones rattle twice a day, every day for months.
So there are concepts that absolutely require plastic. They should identify.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions? Liddy?
One thing that's come up as kind of difficulty in my office is that for towns that have adopted the stretch code, the mass stretch code, energy code, it's been something I'll make sure their engineers are ready for. So, or if they, some maybe need an extra consultant to help them navigate that. But it's pretty ambitious. Big Bedford as well. Yes.
Anything else? All right, well, I think we have our work cut out for us. So the first designer selection panel meeting is next week, it's Thursday. And we will know once the meeting is over what our finalists are, is that correct? Okay. And so we will let you all know what the outcome of that meeting is, so that you're aware of what's coming next. And then on October 6th, we will interview, and then we will know during that meeting who the selection is. Okay.
You'll know who the top rater is.
Okay.
So,
Are the interviews in person?
oh, the seven.
7. Are the interviews in person? Everything is virtual. We can, as a public, members of the public, we can join. Right?
We have to request the link ahead of time.
You do, probably. We can collect a list if there's anybody who would like to participate, because they usually ask us in advance for that list. So we'll send out an email, collect that information.
I did have one thing.
Sure.
Like we just said, the first DSP meetings on the 25th was on the 23rd originally, but the MSBA did from the 23rd to the 25th. We had originally scheduled a building committee meeting for the 24th, just to kind of sync up and talk after the first DSP meeting, but that happened now because it's on the 25th, so I don't think we necessarily need to meet on the 24th, but wanted to just let everybody know that there was a slight schedule change with the MSBA, so that meeting on the 24th is beneficial. Yeah, so I guess the question is, do you want to reschedule that or just wait until the October meeting, which I think is quite late in the month, so I can maybe move that up a little, but just wanted to kind of see what people's thoughts were.
Maybe we see if we can move that up in October.
Yeah, it's the
Correct.
27th, it was pretty late, so I'll take.
We'll see if we can move it up.
Okay. And yeah, we'll send out updates with that, I think that happens on the 25th. And yeah.
Great. Is there a motion to adjourn? By Mayor Longo-Kern, is there a second? By Luke. Okay, I will call the roll. Jenny Graham, yes. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Yes.
Dr. Lucy.
Yes.
Marta Cabral,
Yes.
Libby Brown,
Yes.
Marissa Desmond.
Yes.
Maria Dorsey,
Yes.
Brian Hilliard, Tracy Keane,
Yes.
Emily Lazaro.
Yes.
Nicole Moran. Yes. Aaron Olacade,
Yes.
Luke Preisner, Joan Bowen, Ken Moore. 15 in the affirmative,